Morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Wednesday. It is a Fed Day Wednesday. Yes, will they, won't they? Well, they're gonna. The Fed appears to be all set up to cut rates here in just a few hours. Unfortunately, we'll be off the air when it comes in, but that is what Wall Street is expecting, whether you need a rate cut or not. I think it kind of really lays out the trouble that really the whole world globally we seem to be in as we speak. Turkey is now amassing troops on the Syrian border as it looks like we're going to get a Syrian ground invasion. You know what? I guess this is probably what they decided. This is my guess anyway. Is, hey, if Israel can go in and grab a chunk of Syria, well, I guess we can too. Now, remember, they don't like the Kurds, right? Of course, again, as we're learning through everything, Jason, once an enemy, well, now you can just be an ally. Just depends on what it is. So now, apparently, we're aligned with Al-Qaeda. Instead of the Kurds, Israel's grabbing some more land. Matter of fact, Benjamin Netanyahu, hey, we're going to double the population in the Golan Heights. So the war drums continuing to beat. Like I said, the big news, though, what's the next government to fall? I mean, how many governments have fallen this year alone? And, this year alone, it may be a record. I mean, obviously, the Syrian government, that's gone. Can you say that maybe the hierarchy of Hezbollah and Hamas, right, they've been killed? France, they can't get it right. England, they keep trying. Germany, South Korea, now the president, he's like in hiding trying to avoid getting arrested. And don't worry, because I know you guys were worried about it. Would the government get that spending bill completed? It's got to get voted on still, but it appears that Speaker Johnson, up to his old tricks again, he couldn't get the Republicans to get it through, so he's going to rely on the Democrats. So let the spending continue, baby. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And Jason, ready for this? $100 billion for disaster relief. So again, now this is stuff that on these continuing resolutions, they had already agreed, hey, we're going to spend what we spent last year, right? So any additional stuff is going to add even higher numbers to the deficit. So think about it. Here we are. Deficit's out of control, right? We got auctions that are, oh boy, what a disaster yesterday. Another auction disaster. And these geniuses decided, oh, don't worry, inflation, we'll just keep spending $100 billion for disaster relief. How can you say no to that? Right? We've all seen the pictures. You got people in the Carolinas still living in tents. Here's $100 billion. $30 billion in economic assistance to farmers. I mean, really? No, I'm not saying farmers don't deserve, but what I'm saying is, right, the small farms all but gone in this country, right? Who we just handed this out to, right? Yeah, the big corporate farms, that's probably the ones that are going to benefit from all of this. If the government would just get out of the way, why do I feel like the farmers wouldn't need any help? But no, we got to have the government out there picking winners and losers. So there's another 130 billion. I don't even know where that's going to come from. Well, I do. Actually, I guess I just lied. Of course I know where it's going to come from. It's going to come from the auctions. Restrictions on U.S. capital investments in China. Yep, that's going to fix stuff. Yes, we'll just overinflate our stock market even more. What a great idea. Delay the implementation of what they're calling beneficial ownership database, meant to curb money laundering until next year. Oh, I guess I'm already acting like it's 2025. This one won't go into effect until 2026. So they gave themselves a little more time to get us all on the list, right? We already talked about cash going away. Now all the retailers out there, that bill's too beat up. You're going to get rejected. They're going to transfer RFK Stadium, that's the Redskins Stadium, to the District of Columbia. Why? So they can build another new stadium. Why not? They're going to relocate the Air National Guard fighter squadron from D.C. to Maryland. You know, you can't do this stuff for free. Even the American Music Tourism Act. Yep, they got money too. Yes, gotta have it. Oh, by the way, they also gave themselves a pay raise. Yeah, great work. Way to go, guys. Woo! Don't worry. It'll be 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Wednesday. Remember, only a few more days before we shut down for the Christmas holiday. We will be closed next Wednesday through Friday. But don't worry, you can always go out to our website and order 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at allamericangold.com. But really quickly, the Dow trying to break a 9-day losing streak today. And again, we're going to get Jay Powell today. Looks like another rate cut. But right now, the Dow, it's up 120. So far, maybe we're going to break that losing streak. The S&P up 7. The NASDAQ is up 17. This bond market just won't quit here. Just sitting here at 440. We had another ugly auction, a 20-year auction yesterday. Gold's kind of right where it was yesterday. So gold was down yesterday, and then kind of after the ugly auction made its way back. But now, gold's down 8, but it's right here, 26.40. Right where we were yesterday. Silver, same thing happened to silver. It shot up, but right where it was about yesterday, $30.15. By the way, we're going to have a tremendous Silver Eagle sale for you today to get in on U.S. government hallmark silver. And you know how we do it. When we run these sales, we make sure we got the cheapest price around. So that's coming up later. But again, we talk about diversifying. Right? And a lot of you are like, but why? Why do I have to? Right? Why is it more important, say, today than it was last year or the year before? And the answer really is simple. It all has to do with debt. Remember how we talked about it yesterday? What did we tell you yesterday? The government only has 2 ways of spending money, right? Doing what they did. Well, it has to be voted. They're going to vote on this Friday, but this is going to be it, right? Borrow it or take it. the ability for these world governments, and I'm really focusing in on these G7s, not focusing in on Ireland or Greece or Cyprus, Argentina, Venezuela, right? Oh, okay. No. We're talking about the United States. We're talking about Japan, South Korea, Germany, France, England, Canada. They're all in the same boat. And believe me when I tell you, the take it from you is coming. Remember what I said about this stock market? I've been saying all year, we'll probably hit the highs this year. Maybe. We may get a high early part of next year, maybe. Interest rates are going to go so much higher, you're not going to believe it. Our lead article today at allamericangold.com, T. Rowe Price. They just keep lining up. He said, oh, yeah, we're going to have an interest rate of over 6%. Yeah, don't worry. It's fine. Right? That'll be wonderful. How great will that be? Get diversified here. Wake up. See this for what it is. This is a huge opportunity. Huge opportunity, especially getting into gold and silver. You got big IRAs out there. Call us up, talk to Arlene, get yourself a gold and silver IRA set up. What does it cost? Oh, I got to pay a penalty and tax? No penalty. There's none of that. By the way, the fees for a gold and silver IRA are next to nothing. I mean, we don't charge you anything. I mean, that's just not how we operate. We make the small premiums that we do when you buy your products that get in there. We do it through a company called Gold Star Trust. I think the whole thing, for the whole first year, including storage fees, it's like less than $500. Every year after, you just pay a yearly storage fee. That's it. And that storage fee, I don't know, it's like $125, something like that. It's not 1% of your total value. It's not 2% of your total IRA. Why give all of that money away? How about go checking out our friends at Y Refi? Not only will they not charge you 1%, they'll give you up to 10.25% fixed rate of return. Guess what? It's not correlated to Wall Street either. Maybe a pretty good idea. Check them out. InvestYRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-Y-REFI-24. Why? Well, because look at what these clowns did yesterday. 888-973-3924. And Jason, this Johnson guy, I know he's a Trump guy, but wow. This guy says one thing and does the exact opposite. By the way, this continuing resolution spending bill, 1,547 pages of pork. You know what they could have done? They could have got this done in one sentence. We're going to spend at the same level we've been spending at. End of story. Sign it. Right? At least we won't go in even to worse. No. So now Congress, with their new cost of living, will go from $174,000 annually to $243,000. Wow, man, that can't be right. I got to wait a minute. Currently, members of Congress, they earn $174,000 annually. Now, obviously, that's well above the average salary in the United States, was like $50,000. If COLA adjustments had been priced in, it'd be $243,300. So they're saying that we missed a bunch of COLAs. So they're saying that in this bill, They don't say exactly how big of a raise they're going to get. So it's going to be somewhere between $174,000 that they currently make. If they give themselves the maximum, because apparently, Jason, they haven't gotten a raise in a little bit. It could be $243,000. Why do I get the feeling it's going to be a lot closer to the 243 than the 174? Because otherwise, they probably would have put it in there, right? Oh, hey, listen, we're just going to like 180,000. See, that's nothing, right? We're just going to give ourselves a little tiny raise, just a little bit. Right? They would have put that in there so they could brag about it. No. Why do I get that feeling? It's going to be a lot closer to 243,000 for Congress. There you go. Nope. Can't hear Jason. So I'm not sure if he's off or not. He may be turned off at the motherboard there. What else? Let's see. They did make the 72-hour rule, so remember, they gave themselves a rule that they get 72 hours to read the 1,547 pages. So let's see, 1,547 divided by 72. Okay, if you can read 21 pages an hour, then I guess you could, and you don't sleep at all, you can get it all done. So, I mean, I guess they could technically try to read most of this. Here we go. Rand Paul, I love this. He had hoped to see at Speaker Johnson grow a spine, but this bill is full of pork, shows that he's a weak man. I'll say this was probably one of the worst bills that I've seen in a long time, especially with the issues. By the way, $8 billion for the Francis Scott Key Bridge. That's also in there. Let's see, drinking water infrastructure. Yeah, they're going to get some money, $3.5 billion for capital improvements. The Department of Commerce added language so that make them exempt from the Freedom of Information Act? What? Yeah, the Department of Commerce added language that would make them exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. So I guess we don't get to know what it is that they're up to. $30 billion for research, various projects. I wonder if we're going to get like the Russian dog thing. Remember they were running on a treadmill or something like that? Oh, no, wait. It was the dog walkers that were wondering if the different colored dog hairs had a different effect when it was hot outside. Remember that one? Maybe they can see how fast ice melts. I mean, I don't know. But almost $31 billion for that kind of stuff. $1.5 billion for the Economic Development Administration, criticized for funding projects with low economic return. Sounds like a absolute winner. So there you have it. We're going to get this done. Now, how much time does this give them? You're like, oh my gosh, that should probably cover it for the rest of fiscal budget 2025. No, this is just to get them to March 15th. That is it. So when we talk about how much debt is going to be added, we already know December is going to be massive. This continuing resolution bill now guarantees the first quarter of next year is going to be humongous. On top of this, Trump gets inaugurated on the 21st. So that'll give them less than 60 days to come up with hopefully a budget for the last 6 months of the year. Think about it. We'll be 6 months into fiscal year 2025 without the budget, but this is what they do now. Hey, we'll just do a continuing resolution, and every one of them will act like we're going to do something, and then we'll just stuff it full of pork so we can get it passed. By the way, I looked for a spending cut. I did. Remember, Trump's got Vivek. He's got Elon, right? They're all talking about we're going to cut this and we're going to cut that. We're going to get spending under control. Jason, I couldn't find one. Not one. Didn't see us. Now, I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I haven't gone through all 1,547 pages. But as far as I can tell, the whole document was, we're just going to keep handing out money to everybody. And oh, by the way, we're going to throw in dozens upon dozens upon dozens of special projects. No wonder why the bond market isn't down today. The Fed's going to cut rates here in a few hours.
Do you hear me now?
Yes. Jason's back. Okay. Yes. He's back, folks.
Just checking in right before the segment ends.
Technical difficulties. Technology's great right up until it doesn't work. We're going to be right back. 9510592. Joe and Jason here on this Wednesday. So, yes, the continuing resolution, it's out there. We're going to vote on this thing Friday. Way more spending than I think anybody thought was going to happen here. Got a great special for everybody today. U.S. Silver Eagles. Now, remember, the mint, it's closed. They're already minting Silver Eagles for 2025. But I've got Silver Eagles available today. We're the cheapest anywhere around. $715. You're saving $30 an ounce. That's an ounce or $1.50 an ounce off today. A case of Silver Eagles, if you want a green monster box, 500 ounces, $17,875. I mean, Jason, regular price is $18.5, so you're saving $625 on a case of U.S. Silver Eagles today. 800-951-0592. Rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles, $715. Cases of Silver Eagles, $17,875. And yesterday they told us, hey, retail sales not bad. Well, today, Textron, by the way, they're big Arctic Cats, golf carts, ATVs, UTVs, easy-go golf carts, to give you an idea. All right, these guys, when you talk about the recreational industry, these guys and Polaris are the two big dogs in the industry. Listen to what they said today. They are going to pause production indefinitely starting in January of 2025. And Jason, by the way, Polaris's CEO, he hasn't said anything, but just said demand is extremely challenging. Why do I feel like Polaris is going to be making this same announcement? Textron saying they're going to be closed for possibly the first 6 months of 2025. That's how too much stuff they have. That's how much stuff is sitting out there.
We've been seeing it, right, Joe? There's a lot of people that aren't buying stuff. That's where we're at. People aren't buying stuff, so not a surprise, Joe. And until there's some sort of a change, think about the situation. The prices of everything just keeps going up. Wages aren't keeping up with it, right, Joe? And you have the biggest buyers out there buying stuff and getting ready to buy more when they foresee a crash in the market. But the retail buyer of things, Joe, they just I've been watching through the radio station over the years. The businesses doing advertising and customers. And you see the customers, Joe. They talk about situations, and if you're not in a buying situation, which the majority of America is not, how is a business? Are you going to keep producing things? You can't produce anything. It does you no good to have warehouses full of stuff. That costs a lot of money, Joe. Right?
Yeah, and that's just and again, this I could get right. Hey, we're gonna stop production for a couple weeks, a month. No, Jason. Not only did they say indefinitely, but they are saying, hey, it may be longer than 6 months. It's almost like, hey, we're trying to be optimistic that that's how long you people will be out of work. And then late yesterday, Goldman Sachs, Lena Thomas is her name. They've raised their gold forecast. They're catching up now. Now they're at gold at $3,000 in 2025, right? That's where I was like 6 months ago. But a very interesting note to all the skeptics saying that it will be unlikely that gold will be able to manage to keep us a cent at the same time as the dollar rises to new highs. Thomas says, forget about that. Not going to happen. Matter of fact, the dollar may not matter at all. They said that they have gone through the data. We know this. She says that China in November, they said they bought 5 tons of gold, which wasn't a lot, but, China hasn't been allegedly buying gold. Goldman Sachs says that was not the case, saying that it appears that the People's Bank of China bought 55 tons of gold, not the 5 tons, and that China continues to be secretly buying all of the gold out there. She said that central bank purchases will continue to remain elevated. And started talking about the lack of supply now from the London warehouses. Goldman now says central banks and other institutional gold demand on the London exchange were the vast majority of all purchases. They said October was 64 tons. What were we told? We weren't even told that it was 40 tons. Goldman said, well, that was a lie. Then again, now November, they're saying, oh, by the way, China bought 50 tons more than what they actually reported. And interesting enough, the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, according to Goldman Sachs, has been very quietly continuing to add to their gold holdings. Wait, who was the other one? Oh, that's right. Wasn't it the Saudis? They got caught, a few months ago, that they've doubled their gold since 2022? Jason, this is really simple supply and demand here. And according to Goldman, hey, when you actually look at all the demand, the actual gold demand is so underreported. The warehouses are running out. Silver, we know about silver, right? We've been telling you about silver. Yeah, the dollar may not matter anymore. At least as far as, higher dollar meant lower gold prices. Goldman says that may not be the case anymore. Takes Radio News Hour. We'll be back after 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Wednesday. The big sale today, U.S. Silver Eagles, all the way down to $715 at 800-951-0592. Cases, green monster boxes of 500, 17,875 today. But Jason, huge news out of Goldman about actual gold to man, way more. Now, see, here's the one thing people don't understand. The central banks aren't required to tell us. They don't have to. Like we know China doesn't. Well, they do sometimes when they feel like it benefits them. But the note out of Goldman today is this year is going to be, I think, the third highest on record, central bank gold demand. But that's reported gold demand. Goldman is saying it's actually going to be a new all-time record high. They just don't want us to know it. On top of it, the World Gold Council. So they send these surveys out all the time. This year they were asking, hey, are central banks going to increase their gold holdings over the next 12 months? That was the question. 81% said yes. But here was really what was shocking about this. None of the central banks anticipate a decline in their holdings of their own reserves. And a whopping, listen to this, a whopping 30% of the central banks said, yeah, we're adding. And so when you look at this, Jason, here's the thing that's shocking about this. Normally when we see the numbers, just to give people an idea of how much gold central banks are buying in a month, there's like 5 or 6 central banks on there. That's it. Not 30% of them. Right? If that tells you how much gold is being bought very quietly, and I don't blame them. I don't want people to know either, because guess what? What's it going to do? It's going to drive the prices even higher, isn't it?
That's how it works. You know, it's a commodity. It's not Bitcoin, right? You don't just throw money into it and watch it go up. You know, you have a certain amount. Yeah, you can mine a certain amount. There's a certain amount floating around above ground, and you know, what was it? Russia just announced that they're not going to let any metals leave the country at all now. You know, China's got the same policy, so it's showing a competition there. And listen, if we're reporting it here on our little show here in the mainstream media, they're not really reporting it. Once in a while, they peep about it a little bit, but it's not very much. So which means they don't want you to know about this.
Now, we also like to tell you about signs that the top is the fall, I guess, is closing in. And we talk about inverted yield curves on inverted yield curves. We've done that. The S&P, what have they had? I don't know, 60 all-time highs this year? So, if not 60, right next to it, right? 59, I don't know. Let's just say 60. Yesterday was the 12th straight day in a row where there was more decliners than advancers on the S&P 500. In other words, more stocks were falling than were rising for the 12th straight day in a row. And you're like, okay, well that's weird. If you go back to 1996, there's only one stretch that was longer, and I don't know if you can count this because that was 9/11. Right, okay. And here's the problem with 9/11. It only was 13 days. So we're 1 day away. By the way, going all the way back to 1920, 14 days is the all-time record for most consecutive days where more S&P 500 stocks declined than rose. So we're already getting ready to be the second longest run of what they call bad breath of the market. In other words, the market's going up, but the vast majority of stocks are not, and they're doing it day after day after day. Jason, just another big indication that things in the market are not right? We're starting to see all of these fundamental cracks. And when you have bad breath, listen, it's not like, oh, hey, someone give me a Tic Tac, right? Give me a piece of gum or give me some mouthwash. You don't fix these problems overnight. And I think this is kind of letting people know, guys, when we see things like this, we don't know what's that little thing that just tops over the entire market. That's what we're kind of waiting for, Jason.
Yeah, things are definitely being positioned and moved in the markets. I mean, you got all those big CEOs selling, right? It's interesting because you got the S&P and the NASDAQ seemingly doing so good. That seems like that's where some of that money is going. But the Dow, like you said, it's trying to break these lows. I mean, I remember when Biden took off, it was 42,000. Is the Dow going to become completely useless? Is that where we're headed, where the Dow really doesn't matter anymore, Joe? Because look at how bad that is right now versus, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, which looks like they're propped up artificially.
Well, they look better than maybe what they really are. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. U.S. Silver Eagles, $715 a roll today. And, boy, how about, man, now the Teamsters are saying that they may strike Amazon tomorrow, as they are saying that Amazon continues to refuse to recognize their union, and they refuse to negotiate contracts, and they're talking about 7 different facilities have now authorized strikes, including a facility in Illinois, New York City, California, 4 Southern California facilities, 2 New York facilities, and a facility in Illinois, Jason. So that may just louse up some people's holiday shopping. But again, see, this is the problem. This is why inflation isn't going. Why are they striking? They want more money, period. Right? Look at Congress today. What did they do? Oh, hey, by the way, we're going to pay ourselves. We're not going to tell you how much. Yeah. Right? We're not going to tell you how much more we're going to get, but yeah, we're going to get more money. Right? Jason,
do you know when their last pay raise was? Do you remember the last pay raise was during the housing crash, 2008, 2009? Can you believe that? That was their last pay raise. And now we're looking at what's coming down the pike, and they're giving themselves a pay raise. That's a little spooky, isn't it?
Right? Well, I mean, let's face it. 170,000 in 2009. You were a lot wealthier then than you are today, aren't you? So, yeah, I expect it to be real close to that $250,000 mark, but why not? And again, all of these people talking about, I know the Fed's going to cut rates today. I don't know why, because they shouldn't be cutting rates. But I think something's really broken that we just don't have vision to. I just don't know what it is. And I have the feeling is they're trying to keep the bond market rates as low as they can. And unfortunately, right now, it seems like the rate cuts, I guess they've kept it under 5% for now. But if today Jay Powell says that inflation's coming back, we're going to slow the pace, we're not sure when the next rate cut is going to be. Jason, T. Rowe Price says, hey, don't be shocked to see rates over 6% in 2025. And you know what? I promise you this. You got rates over 6%, we're probably going to have gold well over 3,000. I think that's how it's going to go.
We'll just have to watch and see because, that's the path, isn't it, Joe? That's the path that it's trending towards. So, and we'll see if the Fed wants to keep cutting rates next year.
The opposite of what it used to be, right? Remember, it used to be higher rates meant lower prices.
That's right. Well,
I don't know.
If worldwide they're going to use gold as a backing or an exchange, and the dollar still being used as a backing and exchange, I think that's why you can see the dollar strength versus other currencies stay higher, and gold going higher at the same time because they're. Once again, supply and demand. If you're going to use it, and there's going to be more demand.
Yeah, so, by the way, it's kind of interesting because he said, hey, we're going to be over 5% before summer rolls around. But he goes, and maybe 6%. Everybody better buckle up and hang on. 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're going to come right back. We got Chris Lewis in the half-empty cup.